If you're worried about job security, unstable economies, or what happens if you suddenly lose your income, you're definitely not alone. In fact, it's one of the biggest anxieties for people everywhere, especially if you're living in a new country or thinking about making a big move. I want to share my real experiences with economic uncertainty in Finland.
How I prepared for unpredictable times and the practical habits and mindsets that kept me going through the toughest moments.
Let me be upfront. I've never officially been fired from a job here, but I've faced real uncertainty more than once. One of the biggest shocks for me was at the end of my first year as a PhD student. I was on a researcher's contract, earning a steady salary. Then, due to funding cuts, my contract wasn't extended.
Suddenly, the stability I built for myself and my family was pulled out from under me.
It might not sound dramatic until you actually go through it. When your residence permit, finances, and future suddenly hang in the balance, it's a wake-up call you never forget.
And that wasn't the only time. In my previous job, there were months where layoffs were happening all around me.
Every few weeks, rumors would start. Who's next? Which teams are at risk? What projects are getting shut down? I was lucky. I wasn't picked.
But just being in that environment, feeling the pressure and anxiety changes the way you think about your career and your security.
It was such a constant stress. I finally decided to look for a new job, even though on the surface I was doing fine. Sometimes the threat of uncertainty is enough to move you into action. So what do you actually do when you realize nothing is truly guaranteed? When you can lose your job, your contract, or your income without warning? For me, it came down to two things: skills and habits. The first thing I always focused on was improving my CV and my skill set every single day. I paid attention to trend technologies, staying up to date by reading job descriptions, tech blogs, and seeing where demand was growing. In tech, the reality is that skills don't stay relevant forever. Every year, companies want new tools, new frameworks, and new specialties. The moment you stop learning, you start risking your career security. But practical preparation doesn't stop there.
I've always tried to diversify my opportunities, even if it means working extra hours. For the past year, I've been building side hustles,
launching my own SaaS app, flowyboard.com, and working on my YouTube channel. I'll be honest, growing a tech business is much harder than most YouTubers make it sound. It takes an insane amount of time, energy, and the learning curve never ends. But it's taught me a critical lesson. Having multiple streams of income, or even just small projects on the side, helps a lot during uncertain times.
If one income falls through, you have options. Of course, it wasn't just about the technical or financial side.
A huge part was dealing with the mental pressure, how to stay calm, think clearly, and avoid making panic-driven decisions. Whenever I felt the pressure rise, I'd focus on the few things I could control: checking my finances, updating my CV, sending a few more applications, or just working on my own projects. Action, even if small, always feels better than endless worrying. I'd remind myself that even if things get tough, every effort now is an investment in future stability.
One factor that helps a lot, something unique about Finland, is knowing that if you lose your job, the system has some protections in place.
If you get laid off, you're entitled to a minimum salary, and in most cases, around 70% of your previous pay for at least a year. This safety net changes the mental game entirely. You still feel the stress of uncertainty, but you know your basic needs are covered while you find your next step. But they don't instantly turn your life upside down the way they might elsewhere. But even with that safety net, I do not take anything for granted. The truth is, no country in the world can promise long-term stability anymore. Not Finland, not anywhere.
That's why my biggest advice to anyone thinking about moving here, or to anyone already living anywhere, is this:
be prepared. Save as much as you can when times are good, even if it means sacrificing some short-term comfort. Always have a backup plan, whether that's a side hustle, a remote work skill, or just a network of friends who can help if things get tough. At the same time, don't let fear be the only thing that drives you. The world can be difficult, but it's also full of simple joys. Make time to enjoy nature. Finland's forests and lakes are truly special. And just going for a walk can reset your mind.
Pay attention to the small things, the everyday routines with friends and family, the comfort of fresh air and quiet evenings.
No economic uncertainty can take those away from you. If I could give just one piece of advice to someone moving to Finland, or anyone afraid of economic instability, it would be this. Focus on what you can control. Build your skills, keep your eyes open for changing trends, and always have a plan B. But also, remember to live, not just exist in survival mode. Balance precaution with appreciation for the present. Economic uncertainty isn't something anyone can completely escape. Even in Finland, with all its benefits, I've seen firsthand how quickly things can change. But those same experiences have also shown me that resilience is a skill you can practice, and that being proactive, flexible, and optimistic, without being naive, is the best way to survive whatever comes next. If you're currently worried about your own future, know you're not alone. I've been there, and so have countless others.
If you have questions, share them in the comments. And if you want more real talk about living and working in Finland, don't forget to subscribe.
Thanks for listening, and take care of yourself wherever you are.